Hello, my name is Jiso, and I've been reading Master Dōgen Shōbōgenzō. We have reached chapter 19, Shin Fukatoku, Mind Cannot Be Grasped, the latter. So, if you remember from yesterday's reading, we had Mind Cannot Be Grasped, the former, which is a sort of potted version of this fascicle. The latter is a lot longer. We get more detail on the story between Tokuzan and the old woman, and we get some other stories as well. So let's dig in. The 95 chapter edition of Shōbōgenzō has two chapters with the same title, Shin Fukatoku, or Mind Cannot Be Grasped. We usually discriminate between the two chapters with the words the former and the latter. The contents of the two chapters are different, but the meaning of the two chapters is almost the same. Furthermore, the end of each chapter records the same date, the summer retreat in 1241. However, while the former chapter says preached to the assembly, this chapter says written. So it may be that the former chapter was a shorthand record of Master Dōgen's preaching, and the latter was Master Dōgen's draft of his lecture. This is only a supposition, and scholars in future may be able to find a more exact conclusion. Mind cannot be grasped is the Buddha's. They have maintained it and relied upon it as their own state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. The Diamond Sutra says, past mind cannot be grasped, present mind cannot be grasped, and future mind cannot be grasped. This is just the realized state of maintaining and relying upon mind cannot be grasped, which is the Buddhas themselves. They have maintained it and relied upon it as the triple world mind cannot be grasped, and as all dharmas mind cannot be grasped. The state of maintenance and reliance which makes this clear is not experienced unless learned from the Buddhas, and is not authentically transmitted unless learned from patriarchs. To learn from Buddhas means to learn from the 16-foot body and to learn from a single stalk of grass. To learn from the patriarchs means to learn from skin, flesh, bones and marrow, and to learn from a face breaking into a smile. The import of this is that when we seek the truth under a teacher who has evidently received the authentic transmission of the right Dharma Eye treasury, who has received the legitimate one-to-one transmission of the state in which the mind seal of the Buddhas and the patriarchs is directly accessible, then without fail, the teacher's bones and marrow, face and eyes are transmitted, and we receive body, hair and skin. Those who do not learn the Buddha's truth and who do not enter the room of a patriarch neither see nor hear nor understand this. The method of asking about it is beyond them. They have never realized the means to express it, even in a dream. Tokuzan, in former days, when not a stout fellow, was an authority of the Diamond Sutra. People of the time called him Shu, king of the Diamond Sutra. Of more than 800 scholars, he is the king. Not only is he especially well versed in the Sairyu commentaries, he has also edited texts weighing 12 tan. There is no lecturer who stands shoulder to shoulder with him. In the story, he hears that in the south a supreme truth has been received by rightful successor from rightful successor, and so, carrying his texts, he travels across the mountains and rivers. He takes a rest by the left of the road leading to Ryutan, and an old woman comes by. Tokuzan asks, "What kind of a person are you?" The old woman says, "I am an old woman who sells rice cakes." Tokuzan says, "Will you sell some rice cakes to me?" The old woman says, "What does the master want to buy them for?" Tokuzan says, "I would like to buy some rice cakes to refresh my mind." The old woman says, "What is all that the master is carrying?" Tokuzan says, Have you not heard? I am Shu, king of the Diamond Sutra. I have mastered the Diamond Sutra. There is no part of it I do not understand. This load I am carrying is commentaries on the Diamond Sutra. Hearing this, the old woman says, The old woman has a question. Will the master permit me to ask it or not? Tokuzan says, I permit it. You may ask whatever you like. She says, I have heard it said in the Diamond Sutra that past mind cannot be grasped, present mind cannot be grasped, and future mind cannot be grasped. Which mind do you now intend to refresh with my rice cakes? If the master is able to say something, I will sell the rice cakes. If the master is unable to say anything, I will not sell the rice cakes. At this, Tokuzan was dumbfounded. He could not find an appropriate reply. The old woman just swung her sleeves and left. In the end, she did not sell any rice cakes to Tokuzan. How regrettable it was that a commentator on hundreds of scrolls of text, a lecturer for tens of years, on receiving one mere question from a humble old woman, promptly fell into defeat. Such things are due to the great difference between those who have received a master's transmission and those who have not received a master's transmission, between those who visit the room of a true teacher and those who do not enter the room of a true teacher. Hearing the words, mind cannot be grasped, some have simply understood that to grasp is equally impossible both for the former group and for the latter group. They totally lack the vigorous path. Again, there are people who think that we can say we cannot grasp it because we are endowed with it originally. Such thinking has by no means hit the target. This was when Tokuzan first knew that rice cakes painted in a picture cannot kill hunger, and understood that for Buddhist training it is always necessary to meet a true person. He also understood that a person who has been uselessly caught up in only sutras and texts is not able to acquire real power. Eventually, he visited Ryutan and realized the way of master and disciple, after which he did indeed become a true person. Today, he is not only a founding patriarch of the Unmon and Hogon sects, but also a guiding teacher in the human world and in the heavens above. That's nice. When we consider this story, it is evident now that Tokuzan in the past was not enlightened. Even though the old woman has now shut Tokuzan's mouth, it is also hard to decide if she is really a true person. In brief, it seems that hearing the words mind cannot be grasped, she considers only that mind cannot exist, and so she asks, as she does. If Tokuzan were a stout fellow, he might have the power of interpretation. If he were able to interpret the situation, it would also have become apparent whether the old woman was a true person, because this is a time when Tokuzan was not Tokuzan. Whether the old woman is a true person also is not known and not evident. What is more, we are not without reasons to doubt the old woman now. When Tokuzan is unable to say anything, why does she not say to Tokuzan, now the master is unable to say anything, so please go ahead and ask this old woman. The old woman will say something for the master instead. Then, after receiving Tokuzan's question, if she had something to say to Tokuzan, the old woman might show some real ability. Someone who has the state of effort common to the bones and marrow and the faces and eyes of the ancients, and common to the brightness and the conspicuous form of eternal Buddhas, in such a situation has no trouble not only taking hold but also letting go of Tokuzan, the old woman, the ungraspable, the graspable, rice cakes and mind. The Buddha mind is just the 3 times. Mind and the 3 times are not separated by 1,000th or 100th, but when they move apart and we discuss their separation, then the profound distance between them has already gone beyond 84,000. If someone says, "What is past mind?" we should say to that person, "It cannot be grasped." If someone says, "What is present mind?" we should say to that person, "It cannot be grasped." If someone says, "What is future mind?" we should say to that person, "It cannot be grasped." The point here is not to say that there is mind, which we provisionally call ungraspable. We are just saying for the present it cannot be grasped. We do not say that it is impossible to grasp mind. We only say it cannot be grasped. We do not say that it is possible to grasp mind. We only say it cannot be grasped. Further, if someone says, "What is the state of past mind cannot be grasped?" we should say, living and dying, coming and going. If someone says, "What is the state of present mind cannot be grasped?" we should say, living and dying, coming and going. If someone says, "What is the state of future mind cannot be grasped?" we should say, living and dying, coming and going. In sum, there is Buddha mind as fences, walls, tiles and pebbles, and all the Buddhas of the 3 times experience this as it cannot be grasped. There are only fences, walls, tiles and pebbles, which are the Buddha mind itself, and the Buddhas experience this in the 3 times as it cannot be grasped. Furthermore, there is the state of it cannot be grasped itself, existing as mountains, rivers and the earth. There are times when the state of it cannot be grasped as grass, trees, wind and water. It's just mind. Sorry, I got that wrong. There are times when the state of it cannot be grasped as trees, grass, wind and water is just mind. There are also times when the mind to which we should give rise while having no abode is the state of it cannot be grasped. Still further, mind in the state of it cannot be grasped, which is preaching 80,000 Dharma gates through all the ages of all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, is like this. A further example. At the time of the National Master Daisho, Daini Sanjo arrived at the capital from the faraway western heavens, claiming to have attained the power to know others' minds. In the story, the Tang Emperor Shukosu orders the National Master to examine Sanzo. As soon as Sanzo meets the National Master, he promptly prostrates himself and stands to the Master's right. At length, the National Master says, "Have you got the power to know others' minds or not?" Sanzo says, "I would not be so bold as to say." The National Master says, "Tell me where this old monk is now." Sanzo says, "Master, you are teacher of the whole country. Why are you by the West River watching a boat race?" The National Master, after a while, asks a second time, "Tell me where the old monk is now." Sanzo says, "Master, you are the teacher of the whole country. Why are you on Tientsin Bridge watching someone play with a monkey?" The National Master asks again, "Tell me where the old monk is now." Sanzo takes a while, but knows nothing and sees nothing. Then the National Master scolds him, saying, "You ghost of a wild fox, where is your power to know others' minds?" Sanzo has no further answer. Quite long, this chapter. I'll read the next paragraph. If we did not know of such an episode, that would be bad, and if we are not informed about it, we might have doubts. Buddhist patriarchs and scholars of the Tripitaka can never be equal. They are as far apart as heaven and earth. Buddhist patriarchs have clarified the Buddha Dharma. Scholars of the Tripitaka have never clarified it at all. With regard to the title Scholar of the Tripitaka, indeed, there are cases of even secular people being a scholar of the Tripitaka. It represents, for example, the acquisition of a place in literary culture. This being so, even if Sanzo has not only understood all the languages of India and China, but has also accomplished the power to know others' minds as well, he has never seen the body and mind of the Buddhist truth, even in a dream. For this reason, in his audience with the National Master, who has experienced the state of the Buddhist patriarchs, Sanzo is seen through at once. When we learn mind in Buddhism, the myriad dharmas are mind itself, and the triple world is mind alone. It may be that mind alone is just mind alone, and that concrete Buddha is mind here and now. Whether it is self, or whether it is the external world, we must not be mistaken about the mind of the Buddha's truth. It could never idly flow down to the West River or wander over Tientsin Bridge. If we want to maintain and rely upon the body and mind of the Buddha's truth, we must learn the power which is the wisdom of the Buddha's truth. That is to say, in the Buddha's truth, the whole earth is mind, which does not change through arising and vanishing, and the whole Dharma is mind. We should also learn the whole mind as the power of wisdom. Sanzo, not having seen this already, is nothing but the ghost of a wild fox. So even the first 2 times, Sanzo never sees the mind of the National Master and never penetrates the mind of the National Master at all. He is a wild fox cub, idly playing with no more than the West River, Tientsin Bridge, a boat race, and a monkey. How could he hope to see the National Master? Again, the fact is evident that Sanzo cannot see the place where the National Master is. He is asked 3 times, "Tell me where the old monk is now," but he does not listen to those words. If he could listen, he might be able to investigate further, but because he does not listen, he blunders heedlessly onward. If Sanzo had learned the Buddha Dharma, he would listen to the words of the National Master, and he might be able to see the body and mind of the National Master. Because he does not learn the Buddha Dharma in his everyday life, even though he was born to meet a guiding teacher in the human world and the heavens above, he has passed the opportunity in vain. It is pitiful and it is deplorable. In general, how could a scholar of the Tripitaka attain to the conduct of a Buddhist patriarch and know the limits of the National Master? Needless to say, teachers of commentaries from the Western heavens and Indian scholars of the Tripitaka could never know the conduct of the National Master at all. Kings of gods can know, and teachers of commentaries can know, what scholars of the Tripitaka know. How could what commentary teachers and gods know be beyond the wisdom of bodhisattvas at the place of assignment, or be beyond bodhisattvas at the 10 sacred stages and the 3 clever stages? Gods cannot know, and bodhisattvas at the place of assignment have never clarified the body and mind of the National Master. Discussion of body and mind among bodhisattvas is like this. We should know it and believe it. Thanks for listening.